There she is.
And here we are. Welcome to the A3K podcast. This is our 100th episode, and as you can see, we have a lot of people in this room. I'm Sean Russell, and as part of the 100th festivities, we are all dressed up as things. So, going down the line, we have an empty chair. We have Jack. Who are you dressed as, Jack? All right. We're going to keep moving. David. You look like
It's
you're...
go time.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Next we
The
have...
hat is backwards. It's go time. Hashtag it A3K100.
And JD Banks.
Hi.
And a face that you probably have never seen but is always hiding behind the curtain, Johnny.
What up?
And then, coming back to the show, we have Frank Max, or also known in circles as AW Brawler. All right. And then we have another Max, but if you listen to the other side, you know who this Max is. It is Max Gator.
Hi, I'm the best character in Persona 3, but then I got shot by hippie Jesus.
And absent, we have the ghost of Cody Barr. Oh, what's this?
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Oh
Lost
my
out the Master
goodness.
Ball.
It is the one, the only Cody Barr.
What's up, foes? Ice cream cone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the transformation is complete.
I think that Darkrai just gave the Hitler salute.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go into the what you've been ... section of the podcast because that's what we always do. So let's get started with Max Vader. What have you been ... dotting?
Well, as you can maybe or maybe not imagine, I've mostly been playing Persona Q, which is pretty great. Apparently based, as far as gameplay goes, on some of the Etrian Odyssey games, although I would not know because I have never played any of them. And I've heard this game described as fanfiction.net in video game form because it crosses over Persona 3 and Persona 4, but I would actually have to differ with this for three reasons. Reason number one is that the characters are actually in character. Reason number two is that there is a whole lot less sex going on than you would think would be in a fanfic. And reason number three is that this game does not, in fact, feature Nanako with like 100 tentacle dicks up her ass. So that is my reasoning.
All
That's a
right.
good story.
All right. So moving on, we have the other Max, Frank E. Max. What have you been ... dotting?
Well, I've been rewatching one of my favorite dubbed animes, only to look into it and figure out that it came from somewhere that I didn't know. I'm pretty sure by now you all know I'm a fan of Popoton. Cody probably hates it. And apparently Popoton comes from a hentai game. I'm like, makes sense.
I'm not surprised by this.
Wow. And it's been messing me up. So I've been looking at other anime that I watch, and I'm noticing that a lot of them come from that. And I'm like, what's wrong with me?
This also does not surprise me.
This might be a problem.
So to
AW.
recap,
Might be
you've
wrong.
discovered a lot of your favorite anime.
Apparently, I'm a freaking pervert.
At least you said it.
Let your freak flag fly.
It's not me for once.
All right. So next we have Johnny.
Yeah.
What have you been ... dotting?
I've been ... dotting this. So, to give you an idea of how
I've
big
never heard of that. Is that some indie thing? Is that
I'm
some...
not familiar.
some up and
Yeah,
coming
it's good.
title?
Sorry.
It's this is a CD, okay? This is how big
Wow.
that is. That's gigantic. So I've been reading that, and it's the first manga I've read like 7 years or something.
Wow,
It's really
7 years.
the art on it is really bad, but it's like laid out really well. Like you could tell like Hajime Isayama could be like a director because the shots are laid out really well. It looks really dirty and muddled. And this is like gigantic, so if this was the size of an actual manga, it would be next to impossible to see what's actually going on it. So that's what I've been dotting.
Yeah, the artwork in Attack on Titan is messy as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, the anime is like that. Maybe that's part of the art style.
No, anime isn't messy.
It's pretty clean.
Yeah, anime's more
No, I mean,
usually clean with hard lines.
Maybe, maybe it's just me. We know I have a distaste for Attack on Titan, so I'm gonna shut up.
Stuff like that is really clean, right? But then, like the character stuff is really, really messy. Like right here, this one, it's kind of hard to tell, and that's one of the better ones in the first, like.
I can't tell at all, so.
Yeah, see, that's the point. And this is gigantic, so imagine if it was like a regular manga.
The characters look kind of weird, but then again, most characters in Attack on Titan are Jewish, so.
Shalom. We're in the middle of Hanukkah right now.
Mazel tov, everybody.
Speaking of being in the middle of Hanukkah right now, we have JD. What have you been dotting?
How does that segue? Like,
I don't know if my segues make sense.
Hashtag.
Because you've been living in Israel all this time. Because
not all Jews.
You've been living in Israel all this time, right, JD?
Hashtag money and noses.
Sure, Israel, aka Japan. I've just been reading manga actually. I read Food Wars for the manga corner because we decided to do one on the new license. So yeah, a lot of food I learned about and how to cook it. so yeah, that's it. That's all I've been doing.
All right. And DJM.
That is what they called me. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been dotting a sentence that I did not know how to finish because I'm not a very good writer, but I thought I could get away with dramatic tension. But in all seriousness, I have been dotting a little mini martial arts movie marathon that I did for myself last night. I had a pretty shitty IRL day yesterday, and I decided I was going to enjoy some movies. The first one was a movie called The Man of Tai Chi, which was the directorial debut of Keanu Reeves, starring Tiger Chen. That was pretty enjoyable, but the main course of my little mini movie marathon was The Raid 2, Barandal, the sequel to the fantastic movie from 2013.
Raid 1?
Raid
was it, okay,
2.
I have a question. For Raid 2, was it
Yes,
just
Dave.
as intense as Raid 1?
More.
Oh my god, you know what? I
It's-
watched Raid 1, and it's from my people, Filipinos, you know, and I was so impressed because the tension was just like, zzz, like it stayed at constantly like high like this, the tension, and then it will dip down very quickly and then go back to like this tension. And there are some points I had to like walk out the room just to watch this movie. I was like, oh my god.
It was Raid 2 was absolutely phenomenal. It is long. It is 2.5 hours, but it is absolutely brutal and fantastic, and you do not feel like you sat through 2.5 hours. I highly recommend it. I also especially recommend it if you are a fan of the game Sleeping Dogs, because the movie actually follows a good bit of Sleeping Dogs' plotline, the undercover cop, and all sorts of wonderful, wonderful, horrific martial arts violence. It was so good. So good.
Yeah, you know what? And you know what? That movie didn't feel like some kind of like 2-bit like Filipino like DVD VHS kind of movie. And actually, I was like, wait a minute, this is a Filipino movie because I know a little bit Tagalog, so I was like, oh, where did this come out of? Where did this come from? This little gem right here. So I guess I'm gonna go watch the Raid 2 then.
JD, as soon as the podcast is over, watch the Raid 2. I'm
you know
not
what,
even
actually,
kidding. as soon as
Actually,
it's
I
over.
have to watch Street Fighter the live action. Actually.
Really? Really?
Yeah, because I learned how to.
Disappointed.
I
JD,
learned how to
JD.
get movies here, so I was
I-
like, yes, finally. So they had Street Fighter. All right, I know it's gonna be corny, but I kind of just want to watch it to say that I watched it. So.
I understand that I'm the new guy here. Okay, I understand that, but just do me this favor, not just for me. Help me help you, JD. As soon as the podcast is over, watch The Raid 2. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Now, did they have the same characters as the Raid 1, or were they different
Yes,
people?
yes. It is the same lead, Eco, and it was absolutely fantastic. Just sheer wonderful brutality.
All right, I'll recommend it to my husband, and then we'll watch it together because we love the Raid 1, we love Ungbok, all those stuff. So
Watch it. Please watch it. Please watch it.
All right, thank you.
All right, and moving on, we have Jack.
Yo, dreaming. Don't give it up, Luffy. Dreaming. Don't give it up, Solo. Dreaming.
Don't do
give
that.
it up, Nami.
When something's bad, I don't have an evoker.
The first of many songs now.
This
This
is
is what we're
What's going on?
By the way, Sean and everyone out there in podcast land, while
This
Jack
is-
is painting,
Cool.
this is
Oh, dear.
A3K the musical, everybody. Well,
Yeah.
That's what I've been missing all my life.
So what I've been dotting has been
Cody, why do you have a stuffed ice cream?
It's not ice cream, you pleb. You're on my level.
Right
I'm
over
still
there.
T-painting.
No, you're not T-painting. You just
go,
got cut
Jack,
off.
go.
All right. So after that little heart-stopping interlude, I've had a lot of emotion. I've been trying to contribute to the Udon Entertainment's Capcom Fighting Tribute because we all need a little bit more Darkstalkers. I love me some Darkstalkers. I unfortunately found out that I can't do what I initially wanted to do.
And she's gone again.
was-
You're
Jack,
T-painting.
Come on. Stay with me, Jack.
Jack, don't lose us. Don't lose us.
PR.
We're going to come back to you, Jack. And we're going to go to Cody.
This is gonna be trouble.
Yeah, you work that out, Jack. We'll come right back to you. Cody.
Hi! What have I been dotting? Well,
Yeah.
if you would follow me on Twitter, you'd know. Because recently, I finally watched the finale of Legend of Korra.
Yay.
And before it had aired, I had heard a bunch of stuff about it. And for one thing, y'all shippers need to get a life, okay? For God's sakes, knock it off. There
welcome,
was no,
You're welcome. Just move on.
there are no lesbians in Korra.
Cody, what are you talking about? Clearly, Korra is the master of scissor bending.
There will be no Spirit World scissoring. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Andrew Dobson, but they're just friends. One thing that did bug... It was pretty great. It was pretty cool, pretty baller. One thing that did bug me, and I expressed this over at Project After, and I'll express it here. I was a little bummed that they copped out with Kuvira. Because... she was obviously a dictator, the whole thing. For those who haven't seen it, she's basically Earth Nation Hitler. And I thought, hey, cool, you had 3 seasons of villains that were extremists, and they thought they were doing the right thing, but they took it too far. But, you know, we have, like, okay, the final villain is someone who had an ideology, but went so far that they just went balls out evil, like your typical dictator, like your Mao, your Pol Pot, and all that. And I thought that was really cool. But then they copped out at the end. They had her see the error of her ways and shit. And I was like, boo. Like, you honestly think, like, someone like Mao or, like I said, Mao or Pol Pot, that if you just, like, had one good moment, they would say, oh, man.
Well, they didn't have this 21-year-old girl with a short haircut and magical powers. So,
Yeah, that was
one
totally
thing.
good. But you know, they actually foreshadow that, like with the entire theme of Korra's training with the biggest dick in the world, aka Toph, was
Ah,
it's
God.
like, oh, so you gotta learn from your villains, and they had like good intentions but took it too far, and they did the same thing with Kuvira as with the other three guys.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you,
that-
Max.
that-
I've hated Toph since forever. Thank you.
Finally, someone
welcome.
understands.
Also,
I don't
Would you
know.
Korra is
say-
better than Avatar.
Yeah.
Would you say that Legend of Korra is worth getting into now that it's over?
Yes. It's very good.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very, very
Without question. Absolutely.
Avatar
When
was
the
pretty
time
good, and
comes.
Legend of Korra is like 1,000 times better.
Yay.
But like I said, I was a little bummed about the Kuvira thing. She was super badass, but then that one scene was like, oh, what a cop out. Like for as
You don't want redemption like that when something.
well, it's like it worked better if she had just kind of went to the dark side from her own ambitions. Like that she gave, like you had these three villains that were extremists and believed in something, and then the fourth one, to escalate the threat, believed in something at first, but then went way over.
I think they took Kuvira as far as they could when she nearly tried killing her fiance.
Yeah, that was like, why is she? Well, like,
Am I the one tripping over Cody just puppeting the heck out of this dark ride?
I think that was peak evil for Kuvira when
yeah, but like
Vitar Jr.
That's the
Like,
point. Like,
yeah.
like she did that, but now all of a sudden she can't. She totally sees how she was wrong when she was capable of that. That was a cop out.
I don't think she saw that she was wrong. I think she just saw, okay, shit, I cannot beat Korra.
No, she flat out. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for what I did. I'll accept my punishment. I'm bummed.
But I do remember her
Nobody
saying, like,
understands me, but now I get that you understand me. Now,
and
now.
she did say the Avatar has more power than I can ever deal with. So
Yeah, but she fought. You saw that scene in the spirit world where she's
Yeah,
teasing and
yeah.
shit. That was like As like for as blatantly feminist as the writers are, is like you guys can't stand to have a completely vile female villain. You got to soften her up a little bit. Bleh.
And I would probably say Kuvira was probably my favorite villain of the entire series.
Oh, all the villains were fucking great.
Yeah.
Jill's fucking great.
How are you holding a conversation with a dark ride that he's puppeting and not laughing at the hand gestures?
What are you talking about?
Because I'm a trainer. Because I'm a trainer. I'm that
My
good.
costume, bro. What up? You
I'm a
got something to
trainer.
say?
I know what to do. I got this.
Okay, I'm
Don't
a
worry
trainer
about it.
too. I'll stick my Umbreon on you.
I wonder what Kuvira would have been like if they had decided to go full Eichmann with her.
That she probably wouldn't have gone out like a bitch.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she would have, because, you know, Eichmann was kind of
Bigger.
kidnapped
Well, this
by
is fiction,
the-
though. This is fiction. Yeah, it was great up until that. Even like the fight with her, because technically she wasn't the strongest villain they had, but they kind of went a different way with it to keep her, the whole like, oh, Coral just turn her eyes white and win the fight shit going on. And
By the way, quick side note, what the fuck ever happened to that Korra spirit thing that looked like it was her shadow from Persona or some shit? It just kind of disappeared after she had a revelation. Like, why did they never explain the fuck that was?
I think that was Rava or something, or some kind of vision. I don't think that was an actual.
Or Rava is a dick then.
Or it was, I think
So let me ask you this, Cody, and then we'll move it on from Legend of Korra, because I don't know anything about that. What are you overall? Are you satisfied with the final episode?
Overall, yes, including something I didn't think I would be, but they pulled it off. It was the Varric hookup, which
Yes, that made me very happy. I
I've
was
been begging them
That
not
could be
to
doing
do
the
it.
thing.
Yeah, I've been begging them not to do it all series, but the fact they saved it for the end was what made it work. Because if they did it any earlier, it would have completely ruined him, completely ruined Julie, and would have ruined the whole dynamic. But they saved it at the end, and when they did do it, they kept it in character and funny, and they showed she's as crazy as he is, and that made it work. So I was.
And I totally gave it the thumbs up. I was totally okay with how they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they had not done it at the end, it would have been all build up and no payoff. So
Yeah,
that
if
wouldn't
they-
have been
if
good
they-
either.
Had done it any
Would've been
earlier, it
Oron.
would've been the worst thing in the world, and it would have ruined Varric and ruined Julie and ruined that whole funny bit. But they say they did it a precision strike at the right time, and it was perfect. Especially
And
considering how obsessed the show seems to be with relationships. So it was nice to see, well, if you're gonna like have everybody fucking hook up that you can, at least when you do it
Except
right.
Cora.
And speaking of doing it right, we're going to go back to Jack, and because now you are ready to give us what you've been dotting.
Oh man, I've been dotting so much you'd think I was every other shonen.
Ah.
Oh.
I don't get it.
Oh dear.
T-Pain.
This is upsetting. I'm
Shadows?
disappointed!
Oh, Jack.
Switch to what?
Look at you, hacker.
Alright.
Pathetic shall meet
Well, anyways,
Let's just jump in.
I've been dotting. I finally
Sean Russell of the A3K Network and Anime 3.
Sean Russell!
What's going on?
Well, I'll tell you. I've been reading One Punch Man. It's back and I'm happy, and it was good as always, but way too short. 10 pages. Come on, folks. So I've been doing that, and my weekly Parasite wasn't available, which kind of pissed me off. So I watched some non-anime movies. I watched Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which was a little different than I thought it would be, but I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
I'm kind of tired of Kirk Acevedo being the same character in every single show he's in. If you don't know who that is, that's the guy from Fringe and Oz. He's like the same person where he's a cop or a villain. It's annoying, but other than that, it was a good movie. And I watched The Maze, which is like another movie in a long series of dystopian young adult YA novels adapted into movies that are probably going to have a sequel if people care enough. But it was decent. I mean, it was better than The Giver, but not as good as Hunger Games, and slightly worse than Divergent. But
I'm tired of Hunger Games. So tired of Hunger Games.
I only seen 2 of them. I haven't seen the third one. But and it was definitely better than Twilight. But Twilight's not really in that pool.
We ain't gonna talk about Twilight. We ain't gonna do that.
We're supposed to forget about that, right? Unless it's a riff track.
What's a Twilight?
Exactly.
I did that one for Cody. So I guess that ends it. Are we gonna try one more time for Jack? Or are you frozen there, Jack? If you're frozen, I'm not even gonna try.
Let's move on.
I'm not sure if she's frozen or if that's a meme, man.
You want to try one more time, Jack?
1950s, do I win?
Okay, let me see. Right here, am I talking? Am I audible? Am I saying
Go.
things?
Go.
Okay.
Go.
I've been drawing for Capcom's Fighter Tribute because I really love Darkstalkers, and I wanted to do Ace Attorney at the witness stand with BB Hood and Jetta at the prosecutor's stand and Morrigan as Mia Fey, but I can't do that, so I've been trying to figure out something else. Also, I've been crying because of the 3rd Professor Layton game.
Yes. Yay. Yay, internet. What the?
And with that being said, we are going to go into our discussion, and today we are going to be talking about classic anime series. And we had a debate about this on what classifies a classic anime series. And basically, our definition of a classic anime series is something that has had a significant impact on anime or a creator that has had a significant impact on anime. So it might not necessarily be the most popular anime in the world, but it has contributed in a sort of way that it goes beyond just having a lot of viewers. So everybody on the panel has put their minds together, and they thought separately and came up with their list, and we're going to talk about it. So we're going to get started.
Some people put their minds together.
And others just copied. I'm just kidding. So we're going to go ahead and get started with, since it's been a while since we've heard from him, Frank E. Max. We'll get started with you. So what shows or series or movies do you consider to be classic anime?
Yeah, when I think classic anime, I think of things that are like the blueprint of what we're watching now. So when you're talking about classics, you have to mention Fist of the North Star. If there was no Fist of the North Star, there'd be no Dragon Ball Z, there'd be no JoJo, there'd be no Naruto. like it basically was the blueprint for the whole show, shonen anime, shonen manga. There's been a blueprint of that. Also, you have, as far as the movies go, you have Akira and Ninja Scroll. And one that I think people won't mention is Escaflowne, because, like I said, it's one of the animes that actually got me into it. And Escaflowne used to come on Fox Kids of all things, and then it came out around the time with the big mix and everything. So I'm like, yeah, you can see a lot of Escaflowne influence in a lot of the anime that's out here now. So Escaflowne may not be the biggest one, but clearly it had an impact on anime.
Okay. So,
are you pretty sure you don't mean Fist of the Nose Hair?
Super Fist of the Nose Hair!
Bobo. See, even parodies have that. I love Bobo.
Bobo.
The hell is it?
Stand up, back on the now. You've gone to go tonight. Move out there.
Go, tricky star.
Has to do the whole thing.
Come on. I do the rest, but I think we're gonna get muted.
Copyright strike.
all right, we're gonna go next to Max Vader.
Well, yeah, so what I've been thinking of when I think of classic anime, there would be number one on my list would probably be Cowboy Bebop. I don't think anyone is really going to argue that one. After all, this anime is hugely influential, I would say. So I don't think there's even that much that needs to be said about it. Other things that I picked would be Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. So the series, therefore, the anime, both seasons of it, which I think, because I could be wrong about this, but at least I think it had certainly an impact on these sort of cyberpunky animes, that sort of thing.
The recent ones. I mean, the movies had an impact on the old ones, but the movies are doo-doo. But the recent ones, like, you could definitely see, especially after Standalone Complex, Kenshi Kamiyama started popping up a lot more, and then you saw stuff like Eden of the East. So the sort of political intrigue and with the cyberpunk thing sort of started coming back into vogue.
As far as political intrigue go, which came first, Ghost in the Shell or Nemo Sign? Anyone ever heard of Nemo Sign?
No.
Nope.
Shoot. I don't know which one
that I have.
If Nemo Sign came first, that may have influenced Ghost in the Shell.
How well known it is. I mean, no one here knows about it.
Well, that was for you, Max.
Well, either way, so also, by the way, I know it's kind of depressing that the creator of Ghost in the Shell is basically doing nothing nowadays except draw porn with weirdly shining people.
But then if you saw if you saw what Ghost in the Shell was originally as the manga, you really wouldn't be that surprised.
I am very well aware. Like for example, like the plug-in scene with her and like different chicks. The only reason that he did it like that is because he didn't want to draw a dude's ass. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, so other things I would bring up would be, would for instance be Monster, which has been, while it doesn't have like the raw balls of popularity of something like a Dragon Ball Z, it was also fairly influential, won a ton of awards and influenced like the psychological horror type of thing. Not to mention that it's an absolute masterpiece, of course.
Oh, no doubt.
Fantastic show.
And like one of the very, very few shows that, and also mangas, of course, that actually caused me to shed tears 3 times because it was just that amazing.
It's a good one.
And other ones I would mention would be, the last 2 ones I would mention would be, one is Bakano.
Yes!
Yeah, once again, incredibly quality show, quite influential on other ones, and of course it's more or less unconventional narrative style that quite define it. And the last one is a smidgen more obscure, although it is quite popular in certain circles. It's Akagi, which proved to us that people just sitting around and playing nothing but mahjong can be incredibly exciting, way more than any generic shonen anime fight.
Mahjong is fucking awesome. I play it all
And
the
it
time.
showed us the glory of incredibly long noses in anime.
Yes.
And it even inspired its very own style of mahjong that is actually played, and they actually created tiles for that, Washizo Mahjong. So there's that. Those would be my personal picks.
Okay.
Very
And
nice.
going next, we have, jumping around a little bit, JD.
Okay. Well, a lot of the manga anime that I'd really like to add to the list, like watch or I haven't watched yet, but I know they've influenced anime world is of course like Astro Boy, aka Atom. That's a big one. Then there's Space Battle.
Somebody
and
else
there's
wants to
Space
join the
Ba-
musical.
No. I hate musicals. The other one I would go with is Space Battleship Yamato, and they did do a live action like about 5 years ago, and then they did a 3D one, a new one, like 2 years ago, or 1 year ago. So it was really interesting. So I really want to watch the anime now. There's Akira. I was just deciding whether to pick up the manga or just watch the anime, and I was like, I really want the manga though, but the manga's like $12 to $20 each, so like, ugh.
I would argue worth the money, actually.
Well, I mean, the money is not the issue. I just want more of a discount, you know, like
I want
I know
great
how
things for free.
I mean, I don't care if it's free or not. It's just that, you know, $20 for a single book where I can buy at the same place 4 books, you know.
Well, the
for
Akira manga
you know?
are huge. They're really thick. They're like a couple inches
Yeah.
thick. I mean,
Yeah.
it's manga, so it's not like heavy on the text, but it's still it's big. It's bigger than like the yen press stuff that's like centimeters wide, and it's like $15. Fuck yen press. Sorry.
The other one, that's okay. The other one that I was thinking about was Barefoot Gen, or Gen, whatever you want to pronounce it. And that has a lot of history about the bombing of Hiroshima and whatnot. So I thought it was really interesting, especially now what's going on, like to look at history again. And this is something that's really important in Japanese history and something that should be important in American history as well. So I really want to watch the anime. I read the manga already. So I think that really does change how manga can be also very political but also heartfelt at the same time. So I really think that Barefoot Gens really is a gem in the history of manga. And the
So
last
it's
one I have.
Brave of the Fireflies.
Can you
It's-
not,
it-
Max?
And the last one I have to say, and I know everybody knows this one, is Speed Racer.
Go Speed Racer! Go
Here
Speed
he
Racer!
comes,
Go
here
Speed
he-
Racer!
You must hurry now.
Go!
Here he
We'll
comes,
never know about the anime Speed Racer.
Racer, he's a demon.
With
He's a demon and he's gonna be chasing after someone.
someone. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
I must talk very fast because I am going to win this race. If I do not win this race, then I must not win this race. Huh!
Oh,
I think Speed Racer.
All right,
Speed
JD.
Racer. I think that Speed Racer, since it's from like the '60s or whatever, it's kind of like for that generation of people, it's like their Dragon Ball Z. So I feel like, and
Mach, go,
you
go,
know,
go.
like, yeah. So I feel like Speed Racer got a lot of the older folks into anime and especially one that's about racing, which you know goes on to like Initial D and other racing manga and anime. So I feel like
He
Speed
can't
Racer
drift
had a
like
milestone
that.
in it.
Back in my day, we had anime without any of that moe crap, and we liked it.
Man,
And I will say to this day, I still see the occasional Speed Racer cosplayer at conventions. So
Well, they're
They're
probably
epic.
just trying to be funny, though.
no, they're
no, man,
legit.
they're awesome.
How old are they?
They're awesome.
I would also argue the live
Of the
action
age you would
movie,
expect,
not bad.
younger.
T-Pain.
I would kind of like to see geriatric Speed Racer.
Live action movie, not that
So would
bad.
I.
The live action movie of Speed Racer is not that bad.
Yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it would be, but it's okay.
God, I was
Small
hurt.
old men in
The source material is just as cheesy as Speed Racer the anime, so I guess.
my favorite treatment of it, like showing that it is such an institution, though, was when they had the one Fairly Odd Parents movie with all the television references, and they really just went full ham on it. Just
Yeah. Did you ever watch the episode of Dexter's Laboratory where they went full speed
Oh
racer?
yeah, go Dexter's Family, go! Yes.
Remember that one?
Fairly Odd Parents movie, was that before or after they did the male pregnancy?
Fuck that shit. This is legit stuff. That was like this is like the second movie. Like Channel Chasers, that's what it was called. And they had like, it's the Great Menorah, Chucky Bragg. And then you get things like, I am going to win this race because if I do not win this race, then this race will not be won. Ah! Really great stuff.
Honestly, if I won't race a party, I'll just go Inferno Cop.
Oh yeah. I actually argue that the energy in Speed Racer is very much implicit in Inferno Cop. It's very much the same kind of energy. Especially with the way that they talk.
Nice. And speaking of same kind of energy, we're gonna go to David, DJM. What's your custom anime?
You've been dotting. Let's go over this shit
In
again.
the last 5 minutes.
Same as it ever
everybody.
was. The same as it ever was.
Everybody, just relax, get comfortable, because your old buddy the Deej is gonna talk mecha. So
Don't ever call yourself.
okay.
Yeah.
Don't. No, that sounds like a girl nickname. Don't.
It sounds like something dirty. Hey,
Your old buddy the Deej. Your old buddy the
That's Full House.
Deej is gonna
Yeah,
sit you
yeah.
down and
It
talk
sounds
about
like
mecha.
what a 90s radical skateboard kid would call Dijon mustard when he's trying to pass it off to his cool friends.
Yes.
No, it sounds like the
wants
girl
to get
from Full House is what it sounds like. Deej. You know you're not supposed to date
down to
boys yet.
Well, Jesse called her Deej all the time, but okay.
Deej. You know you're not supposed to date guys yet because
See,
you're
this
supposed
is
to
what
remain
happens.
pure for life.
Guys, this is what happens when I mention that I'm going to talk mech anime. This is what happens. They're doing everything they can to stop me.
Exactly.
Stop me now, cause I'm having such a good
Stop
time.
singing.
I'm having a ball.
Stop
Don't
Bam,
stop
bam,
me
bam,
now.
bam.
Mute her. Mute her.
Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam. Now, why am I not picking the original Mobile Suit Gundam from 1979? The main reason is because I know a lot of you have a big problem with animation, and yes, Mobile Suit Gundam was made in 1979, and it looks like it. But Yoshiyuki Tomino's second series, from 1986, Zeta Gundam, the animation gets a pretty good upgrade. The series itself has all of those characters from Mobile Suit Gundam, Char Aznable, Amuro Ray, Bright Noah, and Quattro Vagina, of course. And, of course, the protagonist of Zeta Gundam, Camille B. Dawn, and you will believe that...
Are the Gundam characters named by George Lucas?
No.
And they sound like they were
Tomino
named by George
started that.
Lucas.
I
Tomino
literally
started
cannot
that
tell
long
you
before
the-
George Lucas did.
Guys, gotta stop picking on George Lucas. He can't help it. On himself.
T-Pain.
Jody!
With T-Painitis again.
Moving a little bit forward in time, the show that I like to call Neon Genesis Evangelion with likable
Oh, God.
characters. Of course, I'm talking about Razafon.
You mean the ripoff?
No, I mean it was done better.
No, it is blatant ripoff of Evangelion.
I'm saying it was done better.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Is that high praise?
Shots.
What'd you say, Max?
I said maybe, but is that really high praise?
With likable character? I don't know.
I'm saying that there wasn't much to work with, and Razafon improved on it significantly.
Boy, I mean, it lifted the plot wholesale.
I bet you're not going to name the mech anime I'm expecting, but I'm going to let you go ahead and go through this list. There's one that I bet you're not going to name.
Third, moving a little bit forward in time, I know a lot of you think that mech anime mostly takes itself super seriously because you probably haven't seen Genesis of Aquarion.
I was expecting G Gundam, and I'm disappointed in you.
Oh, Cody.
Wait.
Let's talk
I
about
think
Aquarion.
this might make him very happy.
No!
My dick is so hard right now.
Only
you don't even know.
$4. Only $4 for one of these.
That's
I'm
$4
so tired of
too.
Ray. I'm so tired.
We need to
of Ray.
talk about Aquarion, you guys, because it has, without question, the greatest mech transformation sequence of all time.
I looked
Does it
this up.
focus on this part right here or this part?
I don't know. I haven't seen Transformers. Also, it
And
looks
it's
like a
important
bonnet.
that you've got that right there, because in Aquarion, when they merge to form Aquarion, the pilots orgasm.
Oh, the power! We're forming, Ragnar! We're becoming one!
Yes,
oh yeah.
it's that one.
We had three
It is
words.
fantastic.
Kiss
All
players.
done
That.
with a wonderful sense of humor for itself. Yoko Kanno did the soundtrack, so it is fantastic.
Hey!
And yes, mech anime does not take itself nearly as seriously as you think it might. Genesis of Aquarion. And for you shippers out there, its sequel, Evo Aquarion. That one too.
But were lolis tongue raped by Decepticons?
Trigger warning, kiss
Well,
Oh,
Incidentally, this is a
Well-
really real manga that actually exists.
Max, you're making my
There's a lot of
brain
real
leak
manga.
out my ears.
It's true. He's right.
All right.
players.
So next we're gonna go to Johnny. Johnny, it's your
Yo.
go.
Yeah, so I had 3, and I don't know what to do with the third one because I'm trying to figure out if I should substitute Oron or Free. So the
No!
How about neither?
no, hold on.
Neither.
There's a reason.
Shut up! First off, they're modern.
The one would be Dragon Ball.
Secondly,
Hold
fuck
on.
Ray.
Let him speak. Let him speak. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Mute.
Shut up. Dragon Ball Z for like
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar.
reasons. Shonen and action kind of changed after Dragon Ball Z.
Hey, Jonah!
Jack, stop!
Sparking!
Howdy, I'm starting to consider a murder-suicide pact.
I'm sorry.
So Dragon Ball Z, Johnny.
Sean, why did
Good villains, good hero. He changes, but he doesn't really change for the most part throughout the series. And a lot of people in movies, TV shows, anime, cartoons, whatever, can't tell a good time travel story. And even when they do, there's a lot of plot holes. And Dragon Ball Z managed to tell a good time travel story with the Trunks saga and the Android saga. So when you grab that, they had Frieza as well, which is a good villain. He's alright, but it wasn't anything compared to the androids and Cell. So for that, Dragon Ball Z is definitely one of them. Along with the music, if you watched it in Japanese, music was really good. But if you watched it in English, it had a completely different feel to it, which you could say made it better or worse, depending on your taste.
Better.
What?
Better.
Better, yeah.
This theme sounds better in English.
Well, the music. The music is
For God's sake, Jack, shut up!
that was the first one. Shonen and action. And then the second one I had was Death Note, because you never really saw a show like that up until Death Note came out.
I'm not
Sure.
familiar. I'm
What?
not familiar. Death
Yeah.
Note.
You did
And,
that joke already.
The main character was someone that you could see yourself doing almost all the same exact things except for the killing innocent people part. So,
Yeah, that's still something I do.
yeah, well,
I don't know. He didn't end up having his sister, so I can't relate.
huh?
Say it again, Max.
I said, I don't know about relating to Light and Death Notes because he didn't fuck his sister, so I can't relate to that.
Oh, you incestuous Germans.
Yeah.
Max just wants to fuck Light's sister.
The thing with
My little sister can't
every
be this
single thing
dead.
Light did was something that you can see regular people doing, good people at least. But then when he flipped and he started killing innocent people, that was the point where you're like, okay, this is a bad person. So
But Light was always insane. Like initially, he initially directly compared himself to a god and says, "I'm just going to create this new world and
Yeah,
fucking kill
yeah,
everyone."
that's bad. But what he was doing was essentially a good thing until he started killing innocent people. So that was another situation where an anime was like, holy shit, like, am I supposed to like this guy or am I supposed to hate him now?
But you could argue the first thing was a good thing because he was basically being judge, jury, and executioner. He was just killing people.
But they were
It,
bad.
it was a psychotic megalomaniac from day
The
one.
best anime, but the best show I've ever seen.
I mean, it's a really good show, but the argument that Light was ever a good guy is a flimsy one.
That's
Yeah,
the
it's-
first time I've ever heard that from anybody. I've never heard of the idea that Light had any good qualities in him from the
There
beginning.
was a moral
at all.
dilemma in that would you do it, and then here's a guy that would do it, and then here's what he'd do with it, and here's how it would snowball. And if anything, it's saying this is why you shouldn't do it, because it leads to this, and it turns you
like,
into
Light,
this.
Light never even showed when his sister was kidnapped and his family threatened. He was a sociopath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mentioned Light as a hero before. I said he was an accidental hero.
He's the protagonist.
He's a hero, yeah.
He's the main
Everyone
character.
wants to do. He's getting rid of all the bad people, thus getting rid of problems. But then he, like I said, he reaches that point where he can't really come back from, which is he's killing innocent people. So that was a show that made me think, like, damn, would someone have the control to not go to that point with that type of power? So that's another one is Death Note. Then like I said, the last one was either Sailor Moon or Free or Oran, just because of what they brought. It was so different, and it was all three of them were good. So that's another
It
reason.
didn't really bring anything different if you saw a little show called Gravitation.
Yo,
When did that come out?
don't.
It's old as hell, and it's about
Hey,
Dave,
hey.
guys, and
The wheel of fate is turning. Rebel
Round
1.
one.
Action.
Fight up.
No, please, no.
Yeah, I don't
Next.
So yeah, that was just those three.
AW.
All right.
shot for-
So next we're going to Jack. Did we already do
Ah,
Jack? No, we didn't do Jack.
Oh, no, you
hopefully
can
I'm
do that.
connected right now. This
Yes.
is upsetting. Getting real tired of this shit. Alright, so I'm the shonen lady, so I like things like shonen, and I remember a lot of things that just like to escalate, and you think of what's the best sort of shonen that does that? What's the best thing that escalates? Think of One Piece. You think of Bobobo, which does parody just so well. You think of Revolutionary Girl
Bobobo.
Lieutenant. You think of Revolutionary Girl Lieutenant that it's basically shonen but with the female, like, you don't get a lot of that. And I'm not going to get into gender with that, but, you get the same formula, and you get it done a little bit better than Sailor Moon, I'd argue. And then you get things like, that are done just beautifully that you just have to have a sight to behold. And I always say Hellsing Ultimate, the shadows that play in that, the animation, the action, anything.
Baby eating.
You should basically be watching that instead of ogling over Ruby or your general, like, oh, who the fuck put Sekirei on my list? Who the
That's
fuck put
awesome.
Sekirei on here? Assholes!
If you're looking for inspiration for hug pillow art, Sekirei will be up your alley.
That's a sight to behold in all of the worst ways when I want to throw up.
It's
Okay,
it's a
sights to
well-rounded
behold.
series, Jack.
The
Sekirei is very well-rounded.
Becky Ray.
Everybody has a nice pair of animation. I mean,
Oops.
All right.
other than that, there's
The only
also...
anime story worse than Sekirei would have to be Masters of the Martial Arts. That was just stupid.
The joke is boobies, everybody. Boobies.
Get a girlfriend
Chesticles. Memory glands.
or a hooker.
Anal.
Need one.
Get a hooker.
Sweater
than the
pillows.
Blade is what I'm saying.
All right, Jack. Before you T-Pain, what else rounds off your list?
Another sight to behold, and also just a really damn good adaptation of the original work is Gankutsuo, the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yes.
I
Oh
watched
my
that.
God, Jack, I love you. I love you.
Watch that
That is a fantastic show.
one. Yeah.
The animation is beautiful. People keep complaining like, I bought this on iTunes. I give it 2 stars because it's all, and it's so cerebral. But let me tell you right now, as somebody who really appreciated everything that the Count of Monte Cristo is, and then going to this and going, you know what? They somehow made it anime as hell, made it a unique art style, put it in a different setting completely, and they switch around the course of events, and it still is really true, and it's just as beautiful. It's just a sight to behold. And it's something you have to watch if you consider yourself intelligent and an anime fan.
Yes, it's really awesome.
I loved that show, Gankutsuo. Highly recommended.
If you consider yourself a fan of art, animation at all, you know, being an aspiring artist myself, I am completely taken in by this anime.
I'm none of those things, but I really liked that show as well.
That's because you have just generally good taste.
I, for some reason, have not seen it yet.
Oh wow, you set yourself up for that one.
Well.
Next we have Cody.
Well, first of all, I just want to say all the ones that Max picked, yeah, those are mine too. I have others, but
Yay!
all the ones I'm going to say plus Max, because he picked like top tier stuff. So go to Max's list first. And then you go to my list, which starts with Black Lagoon, which is basically a fucking Tarantino film as an anime.
That's a damn fine choice, Cody Byer.
It's one of the best anime. If you haven't seen it yet, you're like, what's this anime stuff? I don't know what this anime stuff is. Why does everybody like this anime stuff? It's like a bunch of schoolgirls in Sailor Moon, and I don't get the appeal. You'll get the appeal when you see Black Lagoon.
It's also got all the waifus.
Yeah, it's got no waifus, but it's got lots of chicks. That's why it's awesome. It's got women, not waifus.
It's got tough
women.
broads.
It doesn't have girls. It has women. That's more.
I
Like
consider
standalone
all of the women
complex.
in Black Lagoon tough
Chicks
broad.
with guns.
And the other one,
Jiggly parts and burn scars.
yeah. And the other one, and burn scars make for the best ones apparently. And the other one would be, of course, the legend, the myth, the majesty, JoJo.
Yes.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. If you want to talk shonen, a shonen that was so badass it had to get upgraded to seinen, and one of the most imaginative things I've ever seen in my life.
Ora.
Exactly.
How the heck did nobody mention Hunter x Hunter?
Because it's Hunter x Hunter.
Rebel 2. Action!
Hadouken!
I know that's. If it doesn't change some things, it should. How did no one mention Hunter x Hunter?
Max, let's trust me. Leave Hunter x Hunter alone in this room. You do not want to go there.
Oh, bro.
Oh, okay. Oh, we got some Hunter x
Max
Hunter.
got me for backups.
See anime, bro.
Gotcha. I forgot.
But yeah, JoJo's way better than Hunter x Hunter, and Hunter x Hunter just rips off JoJo anyway. So if you're going to talk about classic and influential shows,
Okay, all right. Okay, all right.
Yeah, we're not talking about our favorite things, otherwise I'd be mentioning Cuticle Detective and Naba. Y'all gotta be talking about the stuff that really brought it home. Brought home the bacon, fried it up, and then said, fuck it, I want filet mignon instead.
yeah, JoJo is. I mean, look at all the shit that JoJo influenced: fighting games, other anime, other manga. It's
JoJo is so good.
JoJo, and it is one of the few things that has been on as long as it has. It has been in circulation as long as it has, and continues to keep it going. It has not lost anything.
Let's just put it this
about
way.
to say, like, leaving any sort of qualitative discussion outside of this. The hell did Hunter x Hunter influence?
Mhm.
I'm the hugest Hunter x Hunter fan, and I wouldn't put it on this list. I don't think it influenced anything. It's just it's a good shonen series. If you give it a chance, but I don't think it belongs in the context of the conversation we're having today.
Okay.
That's coming from the hugest Hunter x Hunter fan.
I mean, when you have the Hunter x Hunter opening and it has the mask, the stone mask from JoJo, it's kind of obvious which one you should go with between JoJo and Hunter x Hunter.
Okay.
Yeah,
What
like
about
Hunter x
Ronnie
Hunter is to Fairy Tail as
JoJo is
No, you're wrong. Okay, Cody, what else?
But yeah, those two plus all the ones Max said are the ones everybody should watch. And if you watch JoJo and you're like, why are these guys so gay or whatever, you're crappy and you suck and go jump in a hole, because if you can't appreciate something that's so fabulous it comes full circle and becomes manly as fuck, then I'm going to beat you over the head with the David Bowie album.
Let's put it this way.
If you watch
put it this
JoJo, your penis will immediately get hard.
It's
And if you're a girl, then check again.
If let me put it this way, I've never hugged a Jotaro cosplayer in my life. I don't hug people like that. I give them a high five and go, fuck yeah, you go make the world go round.
All right. And I guess that brings it to me. And my shows, a lot of people
Sean
have.
Russell.
I think all of mine have been said already, so I won't go into long explanations. Two of them haven't been said, but on my list I had Cowboy Bebop, Space Battleship Yamato, Akira. Okay, I'll make this explanation. As far as Akira, I would say that only because coming up in the anime and learning more about it, when Akira did come out, it influenced a lot in as far as a lot of the technology they used for that particular movie. Not even talking about the actual source material. Um, it's lost now. You really don't see it because it's the gap between when it came out and everything that's kind of built upon that has been so long. You don't really see how impactful it was, but it was. Same way as Inuyasha, the manga was very influential here in the United States. A lot of that has been lost with time. So that's why I would pick Akira. Ghost in the Shell, the movie, almost for the same reasons. When that movie came out, it got a lot of people talking, especially in the United States, about anime and what it can contribute to modern filmmaking and animation. Not to say anything about its quality, but I think it's something that you need to have in your lexicon of what anime is, so you can kind of contribute to a conversation in an insightful sort of way, and that's the way I'm defining a classic. And Ninja Scroll, only because it shows the extreme of anime, and it kind of is kind of in that conversation of how movies that have been very important to anime and to people who have gone on to talk about anime and do things about anime. It kind of shows a different side of it, a more of a less, I don't know what the word is, but I think you know what I'm saying.
Unless
So that's the,
Je ne
go,
sais quoi.
what were you gonna say, Max?
I said a more serious tone, a lot less quirky.
I wouldn't even say more serious. I mean, I would say it actually was very off the wall in the sense of the violence and the lewdness of it.
The best thing ever if you're a 15-year-old boy.
Pretty much. But those series, and I
I don't
think
know about that snake and where it came from. That's all. I still don't know where that snake came from.
What snake? What are you
And
talking about?
Ninja Scroll. Remember the scene where the woman? It's not clear if the snake came. It's not clear what part of her body the snake came from, but we know what.
Oh, right.
And I'm like, whoa, did that come from the front or the
I
back?
feel like I haven't watched it
Really, like
in
Soul Eater?
15 years, and that just came back to me. Oh, God.
I'm nauseous.
Hey!
so. That pretty much does it for my classics. And at some point, these classics will be put on the anime3000.com. And as far as other things that will be put onto things, that takes us to the takeaway, where we are going to find out what everyone on this channel is going to be up to. And we're going to go ahead and get started with Max Vadar.
Alright, well, that's gonna be a short one because, well, mostly I'll be doing more of the other side, obviously. So if you're already listening to that, then you don't need me telling you to listen to it. If you're not listening to that, listen to it and you will become a better person. And also your penis will become 5 inches longer at least, even if you are a woman. And I would also recommend, if you're interested in that whole Hunter x Hunter spat that we alluded to, just go listen to the episode that I had with Sean where we very hotly debated the very same topic.
The other side is for everybody.
Fat snacks. I'm kidding. And then we have Frank Emax, also known as AW Brawler, A-Dub.
A dubba dubba.
Well, takeaways. Basically, I'm bringing back, as I said on another one, I'm bringing back my daily blog on my YouTube site because next year I will be finally going into an official Pokemon tournament because I've been playing it forever. I dominated online at one point before I stopped for a while. So I said, why not? Let me see if I can try my luck and win a trophy.
You want to be the very best? Like
I
no one ever was?
And I'm coming back.
To catch them is my real test. Betray them is my cause.
The mute button.
Pokemon.
I haven't been muted yet, bitches.
It's a battle, win or lose.
Not too late to start.
But,
Gotta know when to fold them, know when to hold them.
Where's my
I
Evoker?
ship David and Jack.
Oh, and also on that, I'm gonna start giving away monthly prizes, things like subscriptions to Loot Crate on my YouTube channel. So yeah, that's my takeaway. So until next time, this is AW Brawler saying, be you, be true, be human. AW Brawler, out.
And JD.
So if you have an anime club or Japan-related club, I do have a website that will help you with any kind of resources, even hard-to-find resources, at animeascendant.com. And I also have my blog, and it's mostly about manga, but it's also about living in Japan, being an anime fan. And that's at jadesescape.com. That's it.
All right, and DJ M.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen and A3K fans. My name is David Jeffrey Majors. My initials are DJM. Coming up next in the wide world of Delta Juliet Mike Media, the Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast, we'll be talking about a not quite indie wrestling show, but a very indie wrestling influenced show, NXT TakeOver Our Evolution. It is the best WWE television production of 2014, and our guest this week will be none other than the fearless leader of Anime3000.com himself, the man, the myth, the legend, the incomparable Mr. Sean Russell. If you are watching this live, it will be on tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, and on demand on the YouTubes at rebelli.net/fannypack. That is the Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast, introducing indie wrestling to the world at large.
Let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
Give him the pimp hand, Sean.
Jack.
Leave it to a Slim Jim.
Ooh, brother!
All right.
That was Jack's takeaway.
That was your takeaway, Jack?
Ooh, brother.
Ooh, brother! Follow me at Twitter at JackDTylerD. I'm the best shakes around. You want to hear my every intelligent thought and pretend like it's actually intelligent? Then follow. I'll be doing a bunch of stuff for the Capcom Fighting Tribute, trying to figure out how to be the most uniquely Darkstalkers in tribute to the illustration book. Hopefully, I will be hyping the hell out of it, and I actually join if I actually get a contribution in there. And look forward to me roasting the most overrated, the most terrible, the worst villain ever known to video game history or anime history. I will not say who she is, but you know it's a she. Brother!
All right, and Cody Warrior.
Well, everybody, you know what time it is. If you don't know what time it is, well, there's a clock, but that's not actually what I mean by what time it is. What I mean by
It's
what time
time for me to lose money on iTunes, Cody.
That's right, because it's time for Cody Baya's album of the week. Because, well, as always, follow me at Lord Schmecky on Twitter. Okay, there you go. And the other side, Cloud Scratcher. It's the best webcomic, cloudscratcher.com. Go read it. But, of course, it is now time for Cody's album of the week, helping to educate you on what is good music. Now, as you know, I've been doing a 3-week little retrospective, and by retrospective I mean just 3 really good albums, trying to lead you to the best one, of one of the 3 great musical geniuses, and since I already talked about 2, now we're on number 3, and that is Brian B.T. Transeau, which brings us to this week's album of the week, A Song Across Wires, his newest album, but it is also a sort of a return to form, which makes it a good little stepping stone from last week's to this week's to next week's, and next week is going to probably blow minds. A Song Across Wires. Last week I said that the last album was him sort of restrained. A Song Across Wires, being his newest album, is him with the weighted clothing thrown off. You are now witnessing BT's, not really his final form. It's like his freeze of final form, but not at 100%. All the ridiculous shit he can do with sound is now on full display. Remember that thing where I said you should listen to his music with headphones on? This is the one where you listen to it with headphones on, because there are like 20 things going on per song. And the fact that it's not chaos is a testament to the man's genius. And this is after he has invented several different new forms of technology so that music itself can catch up to his brain. Most notably that it kicks off with a track called Skylarking, which is the best instrumental track, the best melody he has composed since Flaming June. And to put that in perspective, Flaming June is the track that defined what trance is. And trance being one of the biggest forms of electronica, the fact that he made the best song since the song that defined one of the main forms of music on Earth should be pretty much indication of what you're getting here in this album. And if you all remember last week, I also said that he kind of showed off his skill, did, you know, a little bit of a show off, yeah, by getting a member of NSYNC and making a fantastic song with them. So I guess he looked and said, okay, how can I sort of show up every other musician further? What else can I take and make great music with that is supposed to make bad music? Oh, I know, the most soulless music on earth, K-pop. So in one of these tracks, specifically City Life, he takes K-pop artist Bada and makes not only a good song, not only a great song, but a beautiful song. And I fully recommend listening to the full version, which I'll get to in a minute. But yes, City Life is an amazing, beautiful piece of music, and the fact that he used a K-pop artist to do it is just, it's like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar going and playing with the 5-year-olds at gym class in basketball and just actually playing like he was in an NBA game. And then, of course, we have Must Be the Love, which is, no matter how much of I'm a man, I know sissy music you are, Must Be the Love will get you right here. It will, if you ever wonder what some shitty Sarah McLachlan song sounds to the average woman walking through the grocery store. If you want,
like Sarah McLachlan.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
You gotta crap over every music you like.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that. But if you ever wonder what she must sound like to your average, suburban housewife, what she does to them, listen to this song and you will experience the same thing done to you. And now there are two versions of this album. One has abbreviated tracks and one has the full-length tracks. I actually would recommend the full-length original tracks. Although they do run, on average, around 10 minutes each, the shorter ones are very much abbreviated. It's not, the 10-minute ones aren't the shorter ones extended. The 2.5, 3-minute ones are the long ones shortened. And you can definitely tell the difference, especially in tracks like City Life. Some of them a little less so. There's also a track I should mention, Stem the Tides, which is also him showing off because the vocals are very, very Disney radio. I don't know where he found this singer, but it sounds like someone you'd hear on Disney radio. But then he takes, with his magic production skills, and turns it into actual high art. But I would recommend the full-length versions of the songs because you are getting the full composition to it. So, BT, A Song Across Wires. Learn what real music is, bitches. That's the album of the week.
Lose money on iTunes.
And next we have Johnny on the chat.
Yeah, my takeaway, I asked Cody if it was alright if I could do this. He said go for it, so I've been on a Taylor Swift kick for the past 2 months.
I'm out.
And yeah, and so 1989. Listen to that; it'll pick you up if you're feeling like bored or you want to get energy up. You want to get your energy up. You want to feel a little better, a little happier. Listen to 1989. Pretty much every song on it is good except for 2 of them. You just listen to it. So that's my takeaway. And expect some cool things on the YouTube next year.
All right, and that brings you to me. And my takeaway is, this is the last episode before the last episode of 2014. So leading up to January 2015, and DJ Emmy, feel free to unmute yourself whenever you want. Going up to January 2015, we have some major things planned for you. And one of those is that we are, just like Frankie Max, we're going to be giving away some cool things through our vault. And what is the vault? Our vault is, we're sitting on a treasure trove of anime DVDs and a bunch of other cool things that we just have to get rid of. And we are concocting a cool way for you to get these things from us. So we're going to be releasing information little bit by little bit leading up until January, where you're going to find out how you can do that and at the same time be part of the A3K family. So look for that in the next couple of weeks. So with the 100th episode of the Anime 3000 podcast coming to a close, I just want to thank everyone that's listened to the A3K podcast or watched the A3K podcast since we debuted back in August of 2008. Although it's just one podcast and we are many, we are A3K. I had to do it. This is but the beginning of a long, long-term relationship with you, the anime fan. And I know I don't just speak for myself, but for everyone here on this panel when I say that Anime 3000 is the place to come to when you want great podcasts that aren't just your typical podcast. Like for example, the other side, they have their own take of what's going on in the world of anime and manga. So you go listen to their podcast, you're not going to get what you hear everywhere else. And you come to the A3K podcast, you get all the voices of the network. And we don't always agree. Sometimes we talk over each other, but we all love the same thing, and that is good crap. And that's what you get when you, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But anywho, that's it for me. We will see you next week. And from all of us here at the A3K podcast, we'll see you next time.
I'm
And also,
sorry.
shameless plug. Buy this.
Mysteries abound, made of a deep.
My name is Herman.
Buy this.
Musicals.
I'm so sorry,
All
everybody.
around,
I'm so
but I will
sorry.
go fearless and free.
sorry.
I'll give you strength, you give me love, that's how we live. My courage won't fade if you're with me, my enemy.
I'm so far. Nothing